WCLN 1170 Radio and Cable Channel 16 are pleased to present We Should Know, hosted by J.W. Simmons, an upbeat, informative look at people, places, and issues facing our community. This education-based analysis of issues will remain positive and informative as we consider closely what we should know.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We Should Know is on there. I want to thank you again for being with us each and every week right here at Star Communications TV Channel 16, also simulcast on WCLN Radio. Each week we bring you a new topic or subject that impacts your life on a daily basis. Sometimes you know about it. You might not have been there and done it or been part of it, but it's sometime in that journey we try to bring you things and educate you as much as educating ourselves on what's happening in our communities. And one of those things that's happening in our communities each and every day is fire service. And we're fortunate to have Brian Royal with us today, who is the fire chief of Halls Fire Department. I guess, Brian, we could call that Halls Piney Grove Fire Department. Is that the technical term?
Well, that is correct. Or a long time ago when the fire department was created, we were Halls Piney Grove. Mm-hmm. There was not a Piney Grove Fire Department. And then as people joined the fire departments and stuff, they created the Piney Grove Fire Department. So then we became Halls Fire Department. And then Piney Grove has their own station now. So,
well, I want to thank you for taking time to come in, because you represent, I think, fire service on the very grassroots level, along with 40 plus other fire departments in just this county.
Yes.
It is a volunteer service for you, but yet one of the things I want to try to get into today is help folks understand that you and the folks that do fire service work are well trained and you meet all the state mandates.
Yes. Matter of fact, we're required to maintain training, and the Department of Insurance, they come in to inspect us. That's how they give us our rating for as insurance rating for our department. I think the highest rating or non-classified fire department is a 10, and then to be a fire department is a 9, and then the lowest fire department is a 1. We're currently at Halls a 5. Most of the fire departments in the county are either a 5 or a 4. But it's basically, it goes off of your training, your resources, the equipment you have. Not only do we just train our members, but we also have to train as our neighboring departments and stuff. Anybody might come in to assist you when you have a fire. So that's how we're graded on to give us our insurance rating. So yes, we are trained. We have a minimum requirements. We have to get training each month and for each year to be active with the state. And so we're mandated by the Department of Insurance.
You know, one of the interesting things for me talking about you particularly, Brian, is that you didn't just happen to walk down the street one day and see a sign and decide you wanted to be a firefighter. This is something that has been part of your life for a long time. Tell us how that came about and how you ended up with the Halls Fire Department and now the fire chief there.
Okay. Yeah, my father, has always been a firefighter, a volunteer firefighter. And just coming up, it was me and my brother. My brother was 5 years older than me. And as a volunteer, my dad was a fireman, and he has a call, and he can't leave us at home as a child. So, we get in the truck, we go with him. He says, stay put. And my brother, he was always fascinated by highway patrol, so he wanted to be like a law enforcement officer. Mm-hmm. But I was always fascinated by fire. So I said, well, that's something I want to do one day in the future, maybe. So it was always in the back of my head, and I graduated high school and went to Sampson Community College and took a few classes. And at the time, you had to be 21 years of age to be on Halls Fire Department. That's the community I live in. So I said, I think I want to be a firefighter. So I told my father, I said, I want to be a firefighter. And there was a fire academy in Wilson. So I had to live there. They packed me up, moved me to Wilson, rented me an apartment. I went to the fire academy in 1997, graduated, come back home, and I had my fire certification, but I still wasn't old enough. Well, then at the time, I think the fire department was transitioning in that you can get on at 18. So they had dropped the age from 21 to 18. So I joined the fire department. I really loved it. I didn't know if I wanted to do it as a career yet. So I started off at 911. It was still kind of like a public service need. So I enjoyed that. Several years later, I said, yeah, I do want to be a firefighter. So then I went out and done it as a career for Clinton Fire Department. I was paid here at the city of Clinton, enjoyed it. But then I kind of enjoyed the fire department as a hobby. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to do it as a career. I kind of like it as a hobby. I wanted to help people. So I moved on in my career and just stayed at the fire department. I stayed involved in the fire department, had children, and when children takes time and stuff, so kind of laid back a little bit. And a couple of years ago, our fire chief, been fire chief over 30 years, Lamar Brewer, mm-hmm. He said, I'm gonna step away. So I said, well, I'm kind of young. I think I'm young, I'm 45. But I said, well, I'll try it. So I took over fire chief, and it's been a challenge because we are a volunteer fire department, mm-hmm. but you spend a lot of your time dedicated to that. Yes, you're volunteer, but you're still spending most of your time doing this work. It's more than volunteer work. So that's how I got into the fire service, and where I'm at today, I've been fire chief approximately 2 years.
In your role as fire chief, and of course we've got 40-something other fire departments in just this county.
Yes.
But it represents, I think, a lot of fire departments in our listening and viewing area. So no matter whether it's from Sampson or whether it's Bladen or Duplin or Pender or wherever, those fire departments represent the core values oftentimes of that community. And I want you to speak to that, because there's a sense here that fire departments, just especially volunteer fire departments, they just go when there's a fire. But you guys do more. It's almost like there's church, and then there's the fire service, and as you just mentioned, this idea of kind of giving back. Talk about that for a bit.
Yes, we do. We give back. And let me start back, maybe my opinion of the fire service 30 years ago is we had a lot of volunteer firefighters, and which we still do today, and we're very fortunate to have a lot of volunteer firefighters. There was a lot of farmers, tobacco farmers and stuff, and back then you had stick tobacco barns, and they would catch on fire very easy. So the volunteers or the farmers in the community, they said, okay, we're having problems. We need to help our community. So they stepped up and they joined the fire departments and helped start a lot of fire departments. Well, nowadays, the farmers are going on working larger farms, and there's less farmers, and you got a lot more people working public jobs. So the volunteers are kind of going away as far as having people during the day. You still have people that work the public job that come during the night, and you got people that work split jobs that can work during the day. So that one aspect is the volunteers are kind of hurting a little bit, but we're very fortunate to strictly be all volunteer fire department right now. We do compensate our firemen. We pay per call, $10 a call, which, I mean, basically just helping with gas, and that we pay that one time a year. So we're trying to give back to them a little bit.
When you look at the continuity of what you do as a community member, as a church member, as a person that is connected to a lot of activities, do you see this job as a burden or some kind of internal commitment that you feel like you're not only compelled to do, but it's part of who you are?
Well, that's the fire departments are run by the fire chief of each department, so each department specializes in different things. But I consider our fire department, and a lot of fire departments, is kind of like a church group. Mm-hmm. I'm real big in mission projects. So with our church, I help build wheelchair ramps. Well, the fire department's the same way. If we have a fire, that's a mission. Our fire department's going out, we're helping our community, we're acting like a church, we're doing a mission project, we're putting that fire out, we're helping the community. But we do more than firefighting. Several years ago, when the fire department first started, that's all we done firefighting. But now it's transitioned more that Department of Transportation used to have several employees, and now they've got less employees. They do more contract work. If there's a tree that's falling in the highway, we're the first responders. We respond out. We respond to see if we can direct traffic, or we have chainsaws. Can we remove that tree out of the way? So we are doing more than just firefighting. We direct traffic. We remove the hazard from the highway. Several years ago, the fire departments took over rescue. We don't do EMS. We're not transporting patients to the hospital, but we do rescue. So if someone is involved in an accident and they're pinned in, we have the tools that we go and we help extricate them from the vehicle. That's rescue. Some fire departments specialize in water rescue, that if you're in the water and needing help, that they rescue you from the water. Confined space, in a manhole working, you get trapped. So we do actual rescue work. Then a couple years ago, we started assisting EMS with cardiac arrest. So even though we're just firemen, all of our firefighters are trained in CPR. So if my next door neighbor or anybody in my community falls out with a heart attack, EMS is coming, but we're one of the first people who gets there, and we do chest compressions and we do CPR. We have AEDs we can put on the patient, so we're kind of like a first responder for that aspect. And getting back to the missions group again, that I feel like our department runs, and some other departments, is if a person's coming home from the doctor today and they need help getting in that house, hey, call the fire department, we're gonna help them get in. I mean, because we're there to help the community. Another service we provide is if they need a smoke detector, we have smoke detectors at our fire department. We'll hand you a smoke detector, give you a smoke detector, or if you want somebody to come install it, we'll come and install it. So we're there to basically serve the community in whatever way they need other than firefighting. I mean, we're not, hope you never need a fire, but if you need a firefighter or need someone to help you in the community, we're there to help.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I want to kind of get into a little more of the detail of some of the things that you do on a daily basis, and that is not necessarily a burden, but is an expectation. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in a moment. We're talking about volunteer fire service right here in your community and in communities surrounding us with Brian Royal. We'll be right back.
I am a firefighter.
I'm a mama.
I am a father.
I am a hog farmer.
I'm a hog farmer.
I'm a hog farmer.
I'm a hog farmer.
We are North Carolina Farm Families, and we are your neighbors.
Committed to protecting our natural resources for future generations.
And I'm committed to taking good care of the animals that we raise.
And I'm proud to raise my family on our farm.
And I am proud to live and serve my community in Eastern North Carolina.
We exist to share the truth, educate the public, and protect North Carolina's farm families.
If you run a business, you need sales. To get sales, you need customers. To get customers, you need exposure. Let our team of experts craft and produce the perfect video ad to reach your intended audience while making the most of your advertising dollars. Call 1-800-706-6538 or visit starcom.net to contact our Star Communications production team and get your business moving to the next level.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you for being with us today. We're talking about fire service. We're talking about some of the prevention things, and we're talking with somebody that has been doing this for years. And as you just were educated here and understand, Brian Royal is with us. He's Fire Chief of Halls Fire Department. And Brian, you've really laid out, I think, a very interesting response to how you got to where you are as fire chief, and a lot of that is you literally grew up in that field.
Yes, sir.
And I want to kind of, I guess, open this segment today in talking about fire service with the observation that a lot of folks see the fire service people, the firefighters in their communities, as really community heroes. And I say that in all sense of sincerity, because you guys show up. There's nobody paying you to show up, and you go, and whether it's 2 o'clock in the morning to a traffic accident, and you alluded to the things now that you've gotten into historically that are typically called rescue, that way back when probably your dad was there, a lot of those things were things you just dealt with fires. You talked about the tobacco barn fires and that kind of thing. So let's talk about that for a bit and the challenges that you face as a rural fire chief in making sure everything is there for you to serve and the folks that work with you, for you to serve your neighbors in that community. And I'm going to underline that statement I made, community heroes, because oftentimes there is nobody else to call. Oftentimes you are the quickest people And I remember back years ago, the fire departments, especially rural departments, would respond to a call, and they were quick to say, in most of the situations, you're there in less than 5 minutes.
Yes.
And so let's just talk about that.
Well, that is true, and we do have some dedicated firefighters, and I guess that's one reason is the firefighters are the first responders, because we go and we can help people, and then we can go back home. So we're basically resources. Somebody rides by a fire department and say, well, why do you need 8 fire trucks? Well, the resources we got to have is we got to have a tanker. We need to take water to the fire. Well, we need an engine, a pumper, to fight the fire. Well, we've got to have a backup engine in case that engine goes down. So there's 3 trucks there. Well, if you have a grass fire or woods fire, we have a brush truck. So that's another resource we got to have. We got to have a brush truck to fight a fire in the forest. And then we have a rescue truck for extrication to bring our extrication tools. And then we need a truck just for our extra equipment, extra nozzles, fans, if we have a fire to get the smoke out of the house, tarps if we need to cover up some furniture or something from the house. So that's why we have multiple fire trucks. We also, in this county, we have a mutual aid agreement that anytime there's a structure fire, a house fire, commercial building, we respond to assist our other neighboring departments and stuff. So then we don't want to take our primary truck out of the district, so then we got to make sure we have resources left in our fire district to protect our own district. So that's one reason we got to have so many trucks as far as resources. Now, one of the things that I think we're going to face in the future is volunteers. During the day, it's hard to get people that works a public job that can leave their public job to come and assist. At nighttime, we're very fortunate right now and we have plenty of people, but that's one of the struggles I think we'll see in the future is basically volunteers, especially during the day. Now, one thing I would like to mention that we're recruiting for younger people, junior members, trying to get them into the fire service. And one thing that will benefit from us, also that person in high school, is Sampson Community College has just started a new program, started this year, that if you're a junior or senior, you can sign up through your college and then join a fire department, and then go to Sampson Community College. You'll get college credit hours plus your high school credit hours, and you will graduate from high school with your fire certification. So what that benefits from that child is they might be able to leave high school and apply right to a fire department. They've got their certification. Maybe they took this class but really don't want to be a firefighter. Well, that's community service hours. It helps them get into a college. So that's benefiting them. What's that benefit to the fire department? We're getting someone from high school that's dedicated and want to come and help us with firefighting. So it's a win-win on both sides. So that's one thing. Now, also, you don't have to be in high school. We'll recruit anyone. There's always stuff to do in the fire service other than fighting fire. Mm-hmm. I remember several years ago, we had an older firefighter that's retired, and his job was after the fire pagers went off and the firemen responded, he would come to the fire department, he'd look in the refrigerator, he'd get some drinks out, he'd bring us drinks. We have something to drink while we're at the fire to stay hydrated. My father, he's been on the fire department over 30 some years. He's not able to fight fire, but he goes and directs traffic. So there's always something that someone can do. You don't have to be willing to fight fire. If you're willing to dedicate your time and serve your community, we got a place for you.
The thing that you talked about is it's just struck me as it's critically important is that for parents or grandparents that may be listening, or if it's somebody that's just happened to turn the radio or TV and they're looking at this channel, they think, well, did he just say if I was in high school and I could kind of do a parallel thing? That is pretty huge. I think folks maybe need to think about that, because the career in fire service is going to continue to grow, if nothing else, just because of population.
That is correct. And like I said, we've started our fire department, and a lot of fire departments in the county, you can join the fire department at the age of 16. And like I said, in high school, you can get your community service hours. You can go through your high school, and then they'll send you to Sampson Community College your junior and senior year to get credit hours, and you can actually graduate high school with your fire certification. So, yeah, that is a big plus for us, also for them.
How important is this idea of a collaborative relationship between the departments? You mentioned that if there's a need somewhere, for example, if there's a large structure fire in the Newton Grove area, or if there's one in any one of the surrounding departments close to you, you have plans in place. It's already laid out that you guys cover each other if they need additional equipment.
Yes.
That's interesting as well.
Matter of fact, we have to train together. The Department of Insurance requires us to train together to keep our rating. So when we're coming to assist another fire department, they're either letting us know, okay, you're going to shut a water, you're going to go to this water point and shut a water, or we're going to assist with fire attack or whatever. So we have to train so we know each fire department might need, one fire department might need water, the other fire department might need personnel. So that's why we train together, because we know what each fire department needs. Now, Clinton Fire Department, they protect the big city. So if there's a fire, and I'm used for instance, Halls and Heron Fire Department and Salemburg comes to assist Clinton, they might call Taylor's Bridge Fire Department to come and cover their city. So even though they're not fighting a fire, they're coming to the city and manning this station until that fire's over. So we all have a training purpose, what to do, and then go from there.
What have you noticed that are the kinds of fires in a rural area now that you see as fire chief? What are more of the kinds of fires you're seeing? You mentioned a while ago woodland fires and different kinds of things. Is there a particular thing that concerns you with fires that you're seeing more of?
Well, it's depending on your area. Halls Fire Department is on 701, just north of Clinton. So we have a lot of motor vehicle accidents in our community, mainly on 701. A fire department that's near the interstate, of course, they have a lot of accidents on the interstate. We have farmland, so farmers might be burning off a field and stuff and getting into the woods, so we have a lot of brush fires. We're very fortunate to have very minimum of structure fires. But I'll lead that to, we taught fire prevention a lot. We go to schools, we educate the children about fire prevention, things to do. So we're very fortunate our structure fires are at a very minimum at this point. So a lot of our calls are motor vehicle accidents because of the major highway near us, and agriculture fires that gets into the wood area and stuff.
Do you respond to a lot of those situations that involve farm equipment, those kinds of things? Is that something that's important for folks to understand as well?
We are trained in extrication, farm equipment, because we do have a lot of farmers. But luckily, knock on some wood right now, that we're very minimum on agriculture injuries or any kind of farm accident. Now, corn season, soybean season, when they're picking, yes, combines, they catch on fire. So it's depending on the type of season. In the wintertime, people start running their heaters and stuff. And we've also, I guess, the economy and stuff has got better that people don't heat with wood like they used to. So when people used to heat with wood and kerosene heaters used to have more fires, now more stuff has gone over to electronics. So it seems like the structure fire aspect in the wintertime has calmed down.
When we come back from this break, Brian, I want to talk about that whole aspect of fire prevention. The week of fire prevention, of course, this week, and I look at that in the sense of giving you an opportunity to say to folks, here's some of the things that concern us, and here's some of the things you need to do as a person in the community, just to make sure that you don't end up in a fire situation. And I'm going to kind of throw different things out to you and just let you kind of elaborate on it. from the post that you have as fire chief, and particularly as a fire chief in a rural community. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in a moment. We're talking with Brian Royal. He's the fire chief of Halls Fire Department. Has an extensive background in firefighting here in the county, and I know folks, a lot of folks know him. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment. We'll talk about prevention.
Eastern North Carolina is a beautiful place where we gladly choose to call home, and we strive to provide the best communications services. STAR is committed to improving communications to all our service areas because we want to improve the communities where we not only work, but also live. STAR Communications. We are neighbors serving neighbors.
Every year, 7 million 911 calls are made in North Carolina.
911, what's your emergency?
Will you answer the call? Every second counts. You can be that lifeline. People in crisis look to us for assistance. We provide guidance and support until physical help can arrive at the scene. Join us and make a difference in our community. Be the calm in the chaos. Be the voice in the dark. It's the hardest career you'll ever love. Will you answer the call? Discover more at it.nc.gov/911careers.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're talking about Fire Service National Fire Prevention Week with Brian Royal, Fire Chief of Halls Fire Department. Brian, I think it's so important for us to have the volunteers represented here. And I want to kind of back up a little bit and get into some of the prevention things. The National Fire Prevention Week is actually October 9 through the 15th for 2022. The slogan, or I guess kind of phrase that's being used this year is "Fire won't wait, plan your escape." That phrase of "Fire won't wait, plan your escape" gives us pause because we're thinking, well, what does that mean? Very simply, it don't take long for a fire to not only engulf a building, but to get out of hand. And literally every second somebody waits to dial 911 or reach out to that fire department could be a tragedy, both physically and to everything around you.
Yes. I mean, and like you said, fire does not wait. I mean, so that's one thing we go to a lot of schools. Schools call us during Fire Prevention Month and want us to go and talk to the children. So that's one of the main topics we tell the children is get out and stay out. The child might have come out, or anyone might come out and say, well, my pet's in there, and go back in. But no, once the fire, get out and stay out. Make sure you call 911. Don't call 911, I got a fire, and hang up. Just stay on the phone, the 911 operator, I talk you through it and tell you what you need to do. Also, when the fire department comes, and we teach you to stay low. House is on fire, stay low because the smoke's going to rise. So if you stay low, you'll be able to survive a lot longer. For some reason, if you are trapped in a house fire, the fire department's going to come in, and we're not going to go into a fire originally and start spraying water. The reason being is if we start spraying water, then it will start making more smoke, and then we'll actually come in first and try to search, make sure there's no one inside. And one thing we tell children is, don't be as scared of a firefighter. And then I know you're thinking, why would you be scared of a firefighter? Well, we dressed up kind of like a monster. We dressed up with turnout gear on. We have a mask on. We talk funny. I mean, so we're muffled and we kind of talk funny. So we're saying, don't be afraid. A firefighter's here to help you. Mm-hmm. So we tell children, hey, if you see a firefighter come in, say, here I am, come and grab the firefighter's leg and stuff. So the firefighters actually come in and they try to do a walkthrough right quick without spraying water to make sure everyone's out of the house. Also during fire prevention, I mean, we don't just have to go to schools. A business, they want us to come, and it don't have to be Fire Prevention Month. We can come and talk to you anytime. Just make sure you got a meeting place. You don't need to just say, okay, get out. You need to have a plan together so that even if you're at a workplace, a school, or home, that you're going to this oak tree over here, mm-hmm. and everybody's going to meet, and have two meet places, because in case you can't go there, you go to another one, so that everybody's accounted for. So having a fire escape is very important, or fire plan. Also, smoke detectors. Make sure you got a working smoke detector in your home. And a lot of people probably don't know, but if you call your local fire department, we have smoke detectors. We'll give you a smoke detector. We'll even try to schedule a time and come and put it in your house. So there's no reason you shouldn't have a smoke detector, a working smoke detector. And the smoke detectors we have now are basically a 10-year battery smoke detector. I know we used to promote that change your batteries every time you change your clock, but the smoke detectors we're providing now are 10-year smoke detectors that we put in your home. Yes, you still need to test them every 6 months, every month, test them, but they've improved the smoke detectors a lot. So that's another service we provide. We'll come and we'll put smoke detectors in your home. We don't do fire extinguishers. It's nice to have a fire extinguisher in your kitchen in case you have a kitchen fire. But the main thing is make sure you have a working smoke detector, and then if you have a fire, get out and stay out.
The interesting thing, and I'm going to circle back to that, is that folks are probably thinking, did I just hear what he said? But you basically are saying that if they don't have a smoke detector, this should not be an excuse for them to not have one, because literally you're going to say, here's your smoke detector. And then the next step is, we'll actually put it where it needs to go.
That is correct.
Yeah, I don't think you can do a lot more than that, Brian. That's pretty strong.
That's what I'm saying. We're here to help our community any way we can. So, I mean, if there's a need in our community and you need a smoke detector, just give us a call your local fire department, and we'll come and we'll put a smoke detector in your house, give you a smoke detector, replace the ones you got. We'll even come and test it for you. Another big thing now is people's running gas. Make sure you got a carbon monoxide detector in your house.
Absolutely.
We do not currently have carbon monoxide detectors at our fire department, but if you need one, we'll see if we can't get the resources to get you one.
The other part of that is during extreme weather situations. Oftentimes when I look at the word rescue, it's not maybe a fire situation, but it could easily be a rescue situation that could be life-threatening. And carbon monoxide is one of those that we've heard a lot about over the past few days because of hurricanes and generators and that kind of thing. What do you tell people that says, well, I just bought me a generator and I'm not worried about my lights on. All I got to do is crank this thing and plug it in. What do you tell people about that? And have we had problems with that?
We have had problems, especially with generators. The power goes out, and the first thing you think of is you want to get power back. Mm-hmm. So you got a 100-foot drop cord. Well, it won't reach, so I'll put the generator next to my window. Well, that's not a smart thing to do, because you've raised the window to run a drop cord in your house, and then you're probably breathing gas. So we do need to make sure that if you got a portable generator that you're running during power outage, that you keep it away from your house. And I mean, if you're running it and you don't have a carbon monoxide detector, I mean, that is an issue. So you need to maybe call your local fire department and say, look, I don't have a carbon monoxide detector. Can you come and test and see if there's any gas in my house? So even, like I said, we're more than fire department. If you think you've got a gas problem in your house, call 911. Tell them, say, I think I've got a gas problem in my house. We'll come. If we can't pinpoint it and you have LP gas, we'll call the gas company to have them to come. So we will not leave you and unattended. We'll make sure that you're safe before we leave. So, like I said, we do more than firefighting. We do rescue, and we're more of a also public service first responder that anything you need, we'll come and help you.
One of the things that happens typically along this time of the year as well is that folks are now finding that the temperature's changing radically. They're starting to go inside. The expectations of their heat systems is being tested. Is there something they need to be concerned about, particularly with fireplaces? We talked about carbon monoxide and gas logs is a huge part of that. Some of those are vented and unvented. And talk to us about the difference between those two things.
Yes, used to be in fireplaces and stuff, they would burn wood, and still a lot of people burns wood. I mean, it smells good, and people like using wood. But when you use wood, your chimney can gum up. It gets built up over the years and stuff. And so when you first fire it up in the beginning of the year, that it could start smoking, and then that smoke would come back in your house. And then, so yeah, that could be an issue. But if you ever have a problem with smoke coming in your house, I mean, like I said, don't hesitate, call 911, call the fire department. We'll come and check it out and see what we can do for you. When you first turn on the heat system in the wintertime, you might have dust on the ducts and the coils that will start setting off the alarms, but you might not know that. So call the fire department. We'll come and check it. We'll just make sure everything's safe in your house. So, like I said, do not think that it's something crazy. We rather come and there's nothing to it than to not come and then you have an emergency. A lot of people have fire alarms in their house. We get fire alarms all the time that might go off by accident. We'll come, we'll just walk through your house, make sure everything's okay. So there's no bad reason to call. If you think you've got an emergency, if you second guess, you need to call 911 and we'll come.
One of the things I think is important with that is oftentimes the folks that might show up at your door is people that is your neighbor, that you know, somebody. So it's not like a stranger is coming in. And I think it's one of the beauties of the rural fire departments. These are people that live down the road or across the street, or even that you might go to church with.
That's right. Most fire departments in this county cover a 5-mile district. So the people coming to your house are usually within 5 miles of your house. So they're your neighbors. They know who you are, but they're community members. So they're not strangers. We're willing to come for anything that you might need help with.
Some of the issues that I want to kind of transition to on this last segment is going to be not only the kinds of property damage you see and the cost involved in it, but I want to kind of transition into this whole season that we're getting into now, which is the holiday season and the everything from turkeys to Christmas trees. Yes. And I'm sure you've seen a lot of those. The other thing that I think is important, particularly as it relates to fire, is this idea of burns and victims of burns. Oftentimes, you've got to have not only the right assessment, but you got to have whatever it takes there to kind of contain that person and help them till medical help can arrive. And then, we've got a burn center at Chapel Hill. And unfortunately, every year there's folks that end up there just simply because of a mistake, something they didn't think through. And I want to kind of touch on those. So as we come back, we'll kind of get into some of those things and go to some of the other critical areas that you want to make sure we cover on the last segment. Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming up on our last segment here. We're talking about fire safety. It's probably one of the most critical times of the year. The temperature is changing, holiday season coming up. People's got a lot going on, going from one place to the other. And we're talking with a local fire chief here that can really tell you from experience some of the things that you need to avoid and some of the things you need to do. We'll be back in a moment.
To get the most out of your electronic devices, you need a strong internet connection and a protected home Wi-Fi network. You need high-speed internet from Star. Star has the fastest, most affordable high-speed internet service available for all your devices. We have no long-term contracts or high-pressure sales. Our service speaks for itself, and switching is hassle-free. We take care of everything with free installation from a local company. High-speed internet from Star. Internet at the speed of life.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We should know. We're coming up on our last segment here on the show today, and we're talking about fire service. I want to remind you, please continue to send us your email information to weshouldknowedu@gmail.com. That's weshouldknowedu@gmail.com. We appreciate your comments, suggestions, maybe a question that you wanted to get fulfilled and we didn't cover it, some specific information on shows that we do. If there's some particular content that you think is important for the community to know more about, we're more than happy to entertain that and discuss it as well. So continue to send us your email to weshouldknowedu@gmail.com. Also, if you want to drop us a line, that's Post Office Box 1482, Clinton, North Carolina Post Office Box 1482, Clinton, North Carolina. That's 28328. And just put on there, we should know, or WSK is fine, and we'll get that. And be sure if you want us to reach out and contact you, we can do that. Just leave us a number or something, and we will contact you. Today we're talking about things that's important for you and the emergency piece of that oftentimes happens. And our guest today is Brian Royal, the fire chief of Halls Fire Department. Brian, you represent a huge conglomerate of things that happens, and you represent not the fire service, but communities. And we've talked a lot about communities. I want to kind of dial folks into the holiday season, and that's right around the corner. It's National Fire Prevention, and then we're right in the middle of the holiday season. And we go through this probably every year with somebody in your position as fire service, rescue, response to these things. But it's everything from Christmas tree fires to turkeys exploding.
Yes.
What are some of those things that concern you now as you think about, here's the holiday season. I don't want to see this repeated, if that's the best way to approach it.
And a lot of people still use live Christmas trees. So just one of the most important parts is if you got a live Christmas tree, make sure you got the LED bulbs that don't really produce much heat. Make sure you check the base of the Christmas tree and keep water in it, keep it moist. We do an experiment every year after Christmas. We'll take Christmas trees and we'll take them to the fire department, and a green Christmas tree, you can light it and it's gone in a matter of seconds, not minutes, but seconds. I mean, it just goes up. So if you can imagine a Christmas tree in your house that goes up in a second or two, I mean, so just make sure you keep it moist. And plugs, make sure that if you got a drop cord running to your plug, that it's not got any open marks on it. Make sure you don't have a cat or a dog or something a new dog, I mean, that you didn't have last year, that might still be in the playing stage that would eat on the cord and stuff. So that's another thing. So just make sure the cord and stuff don't have any frays on it. I know a lot of people, and this is go back to Christmas trees, but at vacuums their house, that you might just trying to save an extra minute and you'll jerk the drop cord. Well, if you jerk that drop cord, you might chip the edge of the plug off. So if you chip the edge of the plug off, then you've got an opening there that it might not make a good connection, which could also short your Christmas tree out. You get it plugged in, it's working fine, but you got that little crack there that could also be causing a problem, shorting it out. Thanksgiving's coming around. A lot of people fries turkeys. I know, like, everything is getting better from time to time. A lot of people now, they fry turkeys by electric waves and stuff, like an air fryer. But some people still fry with grease. If you fry with grease, you fill the pot up, you drop the turkey in. Well, as soon as you drop a cold turkey in grease, it starts boiling over. So then it hits that fire, and then you got a fire. So just make sure you're not cooking your turkey somewhere around it, something else is going to catch on fire.
Kitchen fires become a problem for you guys, and you just alluded to something that I had a note on here. Kitchen fires become a big issue because oftentimes if something happens in that kitchen, I've been told that oftentimes folks will panic and they'll either run out or they'll grab water and dash on it, and then all of a sudden the fire spreads all over the kitchen and they don't have time to get to the phone, and they're screaming and nobody's coming because nobody's going to hear them.
That's right.
Tell us kind of how that sounds kind of dramatic, but I think folks need to understand that does happen.
I mean, a kitchen fire, and you have a fire, grease fire or whatever in the kitchen, and your first instinct is, oh, I can put this out. But if it's too big that you don't have a smoke detector or you don't have a fire extinguisher to put it out, just get out, call 911, and we'll come. I mean, you can replace your house, you can't replace yourself. But I mean, and don't get burnt. I mean, don't try to do something that you're not trained to do. So kitchen fires, if they happen, just, if you got a fire extinguisher and you can put it out. But if you don't, just get out. Don't make it worse. And please don't put water on any kind of grease. This is not dealing with kitchen fires, but also in the dry time of the year, I do want to mention that we put out burning bans. And one thing that I always thought was crazy that we issue a burning ban, but you can have a fire up to 100 foot of your house. Well, don't that kind of sound crazy? Why do I want a fire next to a house? Well, if you got a charcoal grill or a burn pit, or if you were cleaning up, we have a burn ban that says no fires within 100 foot. Most people's got a 100-foot water hose. So that's the reason that you can have a fire up to 100 foot of your house. But still, if there's a burn ban out and the wind conditions up, try not to burn. But that's the reason that you can have a fire up to 100 foot of your house.
And people listening may also want to approach this and kind of get a response as well to at what point in time do you actually make that call? And you brought that to mind, and I wanted to touch on this, is this idea of is what's too late. For example, if you have a fire, your burn pit, and all of a sudden things gets out of hand and you run in to grab the water hose and the fire's out, which do you do first? Do you try to put it out first? Do you call first? Tell us what the priority is and what our brain needs to be processing.
That's a good point. If you have a fire or any kind of emergency, call 911 first. I had rather get halfway to your house and you call back and say, no, I don't need anything, and I can go back home, than you wait 5 minutes and then it's too late. So I had rather be on the way, and I might even still show up, or the fire department might even show up and just walk through and says, okay, yeah, you got the fire out, but let us help you. If you had a stove fire, we're going to take this stove out of your house, or we're going to take this microwave out of your house, get it out of the way so we make sure there's no damage. Or you might think you got the fire out and it might be trapped behind the wall. We have cameras that we can just walk in your house and we can say, okay, this temperature right here is 200 degrees. So you've got something going on that you can't see. So that's another point is, if you got an emergency, call 911. We don't charge. We're volunteer. We do not charge to come to your house. A lot of people, we went to a tree fire the other day, and the family came out for, how much do I owe you? Man, we don't charge. We're here to help you. We serve the community. We live off our fire department is supported by tax base. So yes, we do charge. If you live in our fire district, you pay a tax base to our fire department. So that's how we get funded. But we do not charge to go to your house if you got an emergency. So if you got a problem, call us. We'll come.
It's almost like a prepaid service, and your neighbors is stepping up to do that.
That is correct.
You talked a bit, and we're kind of coming to a close of the show today, but you talked a bit about the challenges going forward for fire departments and folks working and not having the people to step up to do that. I think it's important to kind of, I guess, back up to that and kind of close the show here in the last couple of minutes with what you want folks to know in that community that will help you to step up and keep doing what you've been doing for years.
That's correct. Like I said, most every community has a fire department within 5 miles of their house. That's one of the things the Department of Insurance costs to get a fire department. So we got a quick response time. But we don't charge. We're funded strictly by tax base. We get a little supplement from the county, but we do not get funded by the county. So if we ever in the future have to hire firefighters, what we would end up doing is we would kind of look at our budget, our tax base, and say, okay, we can staff maybe 2 part-time people during the day to maybe get a truck there and assist. But that's one of the challenges right now, is just trying to make sure we got enough resources to get the personnel to the scene. I can leave work sometimes and go and assist, but I might not have time to go and get the truck. So that is one of the challenging things, is making sure you got enough volunteers during the daytime. I say day because at nighttime, a lot of people at home and stuff, but getting a truck to your house. But going back, we do not charge. If you got an emergency, call us and we'll come and help.
One of the fascinating things that I'll kind of head towards closing here with this is that you guys are 24/7. I mean, I don't think I can stress enough that it's got to be huge when you think about 24 hours a day. It don't matter. When you go to bed at night and go to sleep, you're not sure that you're going to have uninterrupted sleep. when that alarm goes off and you got that pager on your side, it can go off anytime from breakfast, that 24 hours a day you're giving to the community. And I want to again thank you for that. And I got about 20 seconds here. Anything you want to add to that?
Well, I just want to say that Sampson County as a whole is very fortunate to have some dedicated firefighters in this county. I think this county roughly has around 700 firefighters. We have a little over 20 fire departments. That's with some neighboring departments like Faison Fire Department might be covering a portion of Sampson County. Godwin Falcon covers a portion of Sampson County. But we're very fortunate to have some dedicated volunteers.
Well, thank you for what you do. And again, as I kind of started this show, it's all about community heroes. And if somebody wants to step up and be part of that, all they got to do is go by the fire department or call Brian Royal in Halls or any of these other areas.
We won't turn you away. We're always looking for help.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us today. We look forward to seeing you again next week right here to talk about issues, things happening in your community that impacts your life each and every day. Stay tuned and may God bless.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of We Should Know with host J.W. Simmons. If you have a question, comment, or suggestion regarding this or any episode, please send your emails to weshouldknowedu@gmail.com. And remember to tune in every Tuesday at 2:30 for another informative episode of We Should Know.